those folks continue to build up that nuclear arsenal. At one point, we have discovered here just in the last few weeks that they're further ahead than we thought they were. They had other things that we never heard about. Disclosures are now coming out about the possibility there's yet a third installation, all of which is weapons grade. We know that to be the fact. So what do we do there? Are you advocating then, Greg, that another preemptive strike be taken because you know that the current commander-in-chief will never recommend it?
Well, I'm not quite sure. That's not necessarily the focus of the book, but what I think is the attack that happened on 9/11, they hit us with their best shot, and had they had these weapons, they would have used them. So, and
if they can get them yet, they will use them.
Yeah, and I think we should take them at their word about what they want to do to Israel and the United States. They've proven it, at least on 9/11, and they do have to be confronted.
Is this, and one of the things that seems to cause so much difficulty with people understanding the nature of this menace, is the fact that there is no nation state. When you talked about your grandfather going to war, he was at Pearl. In come the aircraft. They've got the Japanese markers on them. No mistake as to who's doing this. And right in front of everyone who are hundreds of thousands of eyewitnesses in Hawaii saw this. And we knew exactly who it was. Relative to Germany, we knew exactly who Hitler was, what he was about, what he was doing. Those two nation states were moving and advancing their own military agenda, and the response to that was a clear response. In this particular case, we spent a lot of time just trying to describe who this enemy is, and now we're talking about whether or not they should be tried in criminal courts or whether or not it's a military tribunal. We still don't seem to have a clear-cut, undisputed identity as to who our enemy is.
Well, I think that's because a lot of the politicians and folks don't want to really address the true nature behind this enemy, which is radical Islam, which is a component of the Islamic faith. That needs to be unfolded and exposed. And we need to show people what exactly motivates these people to do what they do. But having said that, the enemy was identified in Iraq by taking down Saddam Hussein. We liberated his country. We stopped a menace to the region, and people were lamenting the fact that after we went there, Iraq became an unstable place, which was a haven for terrorists. But that was really the point, because we wanted those people to go over there so guys like me and my brothers who volunteered, we'd go over there and they could shoot at us and we could confront them on their turf on our terms.
Engage them there rather than engage them here at home.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, though, as you know, Greg, don't take any stock in that. They think that's just a political slogan and it's meaningless.
Well, it's true, though. Osama bin Laden, I think in the 2004 address I write in my book, he said that was a central component. He called it the Third World War. And Zawahiri, I believe, his second in command, said that that was a key component of the current struggle against the West. He called Iraq the Islamic nation, Baghdad's the pillar of society, and that was where the great Mesopotamian civilizations once existed. So if they could defeat us there, that it would be a tremendous victory for them and a tremendous defeat for us. But if you look at it now, Iraq's really not in the news. Violence has gone down precipitously, and we identified and we defeated the enemy in Iraq thanks to the help of the Iraqi people.
It's not over, though.
No.
As we move out at this point, as we promised we would, we're now told just in the last few days that Al-Qaeda is stepping up activity, replacing the void, as it were, and testing whether or not the Iraqi government and Iraqi security forces are ample enough to maintain that country, and it appears to be still a question unanswered.
Well, I would define it, really, I define the current situation in Iraq it's a victory, really, because Iraq is a fairly stable nation. They're not perfect. The attacks are fewer, and the Iraqi government has stepped in and filled the void for security, especially since American troops have pulled out of the cities. I've heard recent stories about American troops taking salsa lessons over there. They're so bored. So, anecdotally, I also heard that the Iraqi government made it clear to their people that they did not want us to have to come in there and help them. So I think the Iraqis are really trying as hard as they can. And when I was on the training team there, when I was in Iraq, they weren't really up to the job, but Iraq was a traumatized country, and I think people expected too much out of them too soon. But they rose to the challenge, and I think the people and the Iraqi military, based on the example and bravery and goodness of the American soldier, were inspired by the American soldier, and I think that they rose to try to meet the example that we set.
You suffered some psychological injuries over there. We want to talk about that in a moment and how you've managed to put those in their place. 326-9200, 800-920-9244. Because He Loved Grandpa is the book. It's available at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, 253 pages. I can tell you it's a fast read. It's very interesting. Moves very quickly. We'll be right back. 920 Newscope, 326-9200, 800-920-9244 if you'd like to join us. We have John on the line. John, hello there.
Hello, John. Hello, Mike. This is John.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that if you're going to interview authors, another good author would to get on your show would be Robert Baer, author of the book The Devil We Know. Are you familiar with Robert Baer?
No, I'm not.
He was the senior CIA operative tasked to Iran, and
wow.
his memoirs were the ones used for the movie Syriana.
Okay. And now the name sounded familiar, but I didn't know in what connection. Now I do. Okay.
Yeah, and I bet you could get him on your show, and he would provide more insight than probably more insight than any other Caucasian would have on Iran.
Interesting. Okay.
That was it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, John. Thanks for your call. You went through some difficult times through this process. Some wrenching sorts of experiences that really kind of tested you to the quick, didn't they?
Yeah, that was the major component of when I came back. It just seemed that nothing really fell into place. I had some aggravating employment circumstances. I seemed to be the subject of many civilians, neighbors, friends, strangers, what have you, who felt duty-bound somehow to come up to me and tell me their problem with the Iraq War.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that their opinions were really based on